was a long time coming, but it sounds really good now. And then I'm just gonna well, it's running good now, but it was a long, hard time for me. And I'll take you back to when I first broke down and I had somebody fix my engine for me, but it didn't work. So Lorne is removing the high pressure oil rails, which feed the fuel injectors. And there was an issue with that as well, so stay tuned. So Lorne's telling me that he has to clean off all the area before he puts the new fuel injectors in, which I purchased. And guess what? He made a mistake on that as well, and you'll see that shortly. Well, 8 weeks after I had the engine rebuilt, I'm on the way to work, and it dies. I call Lorne up, and he says, "Oh, you must have overcranked it." I was driving at the time. So he comes out 6 weeks later and says, "Oh, you need a new ignition switch." This is after he told me to buy a new fuel pump. And he comes out again 7 weeks after that and says the engine has to come out, but I won't be around. Well, there it is. The engine's out. Now I'm going to work on it. So I put the engine on an engine stand, something that Lorne didn't do, but you can't really work on the engine while it's lying on the ground. So I made sure that I had all the proper equipment. And I decided, well, let's take out the fuel injectors. So I took out all the fuel injectors here, and they all look good. Everything was tight. Nothing looked broken on this side. So I come over this side, and I go take out the fuel injector from here, and the screw was loose. When I pop the connector off, I can move the injector up and down. So after I had all 8 new fuel injectors removed, I noticed the one that was loose didn't look the same as the other ones. It looked burnt. It had both O-rings were broken, and it also was missing the copper washer on the bottom. These do not fall off like Lorne said they do, or burn up. If that copper washer burnt up, that engine's going to be awful hot. So I was really pissed off at this, and after this I never heard from him again. So shows you what kind of mechanic he is. Even though the injectors are only 8 weeks old, I'm not going to put them in without redoing all the O-rings and seals and putting on new copper washers on the bottom. So it's going to take a few minutes to do. I have to learn how to do it. I've watched a few videos and some of them helped out. And so I'm going to start at it. I made myself my own test jig that it's in. And I'm going to use a steel punch, center punch on the C-clip on the inside. And as I do the C-clip, punch it down, it bends the C-clip and it comes out, so I can do the new O-ring on the inside as well. So got 8 to do, and I better get at it. Before I decided to do any more work on the vehicle, I decided I'm going to buy a compression tester and do a compression test. This block was given to me by Lorne, and I just wanted to make sure it was good, and the compression test failed. There was a problem with the head gaskets, so I purchased new head gaskets, put it in. I first cleaned everything off. I had a diesel mechanic come by and check to see if the heads and everything was good. So I replaced the head gaskets, everything back on, everything torqued to specs, and then the compression test turned out perfectly, and it was time to continue my work. Okay, with the high pressure oil rail out of the vehicle, I took a look at it, and there was a lot of play in the nipples. So the O-rings were worn out. They were hard as rock, as you can see. And so I bought the kit. I replaced the O-rings and the nipples. I should have done this when I had the engine out. I was rebuilding it myself. But the mechanic, when he rebuilt the engine, he should have just rebuilt the O-rings itself. He should have checked that out. I also, Ford diesel mechanic said I should always be putting new downspouts and dummy plugs in. They should not be reused. You can take them out, replace them. Hey, I'm here with Gary from Bizo Amber Life. He's come to give me a hand. rebuilding my high pressure oil rails. Well, I had the one done and he's helping with the second one. And when we were doing the second one, we came with some issues, and I was quite amazed at what we found. Okay, when I removed the O-rings, you see there's 4 on the one side. These 2 are rock hard, no play. This one was soft. This one here was the incorrect size. You could probably notice it. So somebody worked on this rail before and put the incorrect O-ring. So I don't know if it was a mechanic, if he did any work to it or whatever, but somebody made a mistake, and this was causing my one of my leaks in my oil rail. So I'm glad I decided to replace the O-rings and the nipples on the oil rail on both sides, and now I'm just going to put everything back together. Well, it's been a year in the making really to get to where I am today. Maybe a bit more. I did repair the engine, remove it myself the first time. I should have done some more work on it, replaced some parts when I did it. It was a learning curve for me. I'm a technologist, not a mechanic, but I learned how to be a mechanic in necessity, that I couldn't afford to hire or pay somebody else to do the work, and Lorne never came back and warranted his work. So really disappointed with his work, and him not coming back to assist me. But I think I'm better off now. I know a lot about the diesel engine. I know a lot about my vehicle, and I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping that I have no more issues in the near future. So it cost me probably about $12,000 in the last year, just buying extra parts and doing work. But I'm very happy with the way the engine's running now, and knock on wood that I have no more issues in the future.